Hello everyone and welcome to Gyan Vihar, University Jaipur. I am Dr. Mahendra Dhakar, Assistant Professor, Gyan Vihar School of Education, Suresh Gyan Vihar University Jaipur. Friends, today we discussed about Dharana Dhyan and Samadhi. Dharana Dhyan Samadhi is called Sanyam. So let us discuss one by one. First we see Dharana. Dharana, concentration. First portion of this accessory dharana corresponds to the last end process of pratyahara. It begins with the mind. After drawing back the mind from the senses as in the age of abstraction, the yogi proceeds further to concentrate his mind on specified objects like the mischievous monkey. The monkey is very difficult to control. Try to fix it on a certain point and you will soon find that it moves away. It is only through the continual practice of yoga that it can ever be controlled. It often wanders without reason and the physical senses help to carry it away to the external objects. Only when a certain definite object is given can this be stopped. What is concentration? According to Patanjali, dharana is the steadfastness of the mind when the sum is born in a specified locality. It is just what we normally understand by the word concentration, where the centering of the mind or the fixing of the mind on a particular point is the object. The process is referred to as concentration. The difference between pratyahara and dharana must be clearly understood. What happens in abstraction pratyahara? We draw away the mind from the senses and thus bring them under the control of the mind. Whereas and concentration, we take a step further and fix it on a certain object instead of allowing it to wander or merely passive. We see this picture. We see some Rajkumaras, princess, and Guru Dronacharya, and we see Arjun who had arrow and bow, and he took a shoot eyes of bird. That is the result of concentration. Towards concentration, in this broad sense, the restraints of all mental modification, vrittis, is yoga. It has been generally recognized that without concentration, nothing is possible. Only upon the power of concentration, more than upon any other, one thing depends the law of attracting, controlling and mastering life's condition. Concentration has been defined by the yoga authorities as steadfastness of the mind, where the same is bound in a specified locality. In this, it is the bringing together of the mind stuff, where the fixing of the mind on a particular object instead of or out of the many forms the basis of all mental efforts. The process begins with abstraction and negation. After drawing back the mind from the senses, as in the case of abstraction, pratyahar, the yogin proceeds to concentrate his mind on a specified object. We know from experience that the mind is the last thing one can possibly control. Try to fix it on any object and you will find that it soon slides away. It is only through the continuous practice of yoga that it can be ultimately controlled. The first thing is to disassociate it from the physical senses which carry it into external objects. Through abstraction, one can easily learn to draw away the mind from the senses, and they can then be brought under the control of mind. In concentration, you take a step further and the abstracted mind is definitely fixed upon a given object. There are many ways of concentration and many things to be concentrated upon. There are either physical, ultra physical, or mental. The simplest form of study consists in reproducing image of the physical objects. Before understanding concentration exercise, it is desirable that the student should get himself ready by starting with the preliminary discipline. In the beginning, the student needs to be alone. The presence of any living being is undesirable as it will distract the mind. The very consciousness of someone being present will likely obstruct any efforts, and it is therefore essential that the student should so arrange that he can be alone. Should have a fixed time and place wear loose fitting clothes and take any comfortable position or Siddhasana pose, highly recommended by yogins. Seated in a lonely, quiet place in any comfortable position, let the student first get physical silence, empathetic silence. Let him establish perfect relationship with his body by forgetting everything else. Let him create a vision of himself as he is sitting, standing, and lying down, and then centralize the attention. Get started right in the physical place before any attempt is made to find other levels of consciousness. After centralization, avoid all feelings and emotions arise by negation or by contemplation of the opposites. To create rhythm of breath, to harmonize thoughts, watch you breathe in and out. Try to feel it. Concentrate your mind on the movements that make your mind rise and fall as it were in perfect harmony with your breathing. Now is your chance to get composed by slowly withdrawing the mind's stuff from the senses. Last step in concentration is to relax, and this is accomplished by assuming a listening attitude. Try to get quiet and still more quiet. Then listen to the depth of your being, so deep that you can hear your own heartbeat. When you are able to hear your own heartbeat, or even feel fully the vibration of blood pulsing through your heart and blood vessels, you have achieved something towards conscious rhythm. Try to maintain this is the basis of your future success. Means of physical concentration. Concentration on the tip of the nose. Physical objects of concentration. Concentration may also be made on the image of the physical objects. These can be decided upon according to the methods utilized. So, when you shut your eyes and picture the sun in your mind and then concentrate on it, the mental picture of sun, the process become ultra physical. Even so, with our concentration on the different parts of the body, this part can again be subdivided into the minor process. What one has to do in all the cases of concentration is to stop all the sensation that are aligned to the object of concentration. At the same time, you should enter into the object with full consciousness of the mind. The physical awareness slowly diminished as the mind gradually merges in its object. The physical then become ultra physical, and then mental. Suggestion on physical concentration. Failure to achieve mental concentration may be attributed largely to lack of primary control over the physical activities. Believe that concentration is very easy and may be successfully taken up at any stage of yoga study without the paraphernalia of physical training in this direction. To only a few highly developed minds receptive to finer elements and less conscious of their physical vehicle, pratyahara, dharana, dhyan and samadhi may prove easy. Neuromuscular education. In general practice, first to acquire by methodical training. A disposition for concentration with the aid of certain physical and psychophysical exercise. Nothing probably taxes the powers of a yoga student so much as does his physical instability and nervousness. Fixity of the body is achieved by the practice of asana and other accessory process, but nervous effort before the habit of concentration may be successfully acquired. We command neuromuscular education or physical education before actual attempts are made to study either abstraction, concentration, meditation and other higher stage of yoga. The advantage of this process is gradually trained to harmonize with the intensity of concentration instead of lagging behind the mind or being an obstacle. Initial movements are very simple and uncomplicated. Exercise based on possibility or educating the central nervous system CNS and the muscles in coordination and perfect rhythm of physical concentration. Gazing as an aid. In this practice, Tratak or gazing is very useful. Orderly tendency of obbling must be avoided and every effort should be made to steady the hand. Coordinate your muscular movement with sight and this should be maintained as long as possible. Precautions must also be taken to avoid continuous demand on rapidly tiring will and muscles power. Cause rapid exhaustion and neuromuscular strain if not carefully watched. Short of fatigue, exercise should stop. Best time early morning for a period of 5-10 minutes. Purpose is to encourage concentration to the point of physical fixity like a statue. Technique of gauging of a 6-main prophylaxis method recommended by Hatha Yoga authorities. Tratak or gauging is 1. Moves the impurities of the eyes. It influences the optic nerves by concentration of vision. Ultimately, to gain control over the nervous system through the control of the external senses, leading to trance samadhi. When one being calm, gaze on any small object without blinking till the eye are filled with water. This process is called tratak. By shutting off optic impressions, one finds it easy to achieve abstraction, pratyahar, which is the first step of external come internal yoga. The Hatha Yogins have placed great value on this simple technique in the attainment of trance and have included this process as an imperative purificatory duty before pranayam could be mastered. Correct technique: sit in Sukhasana in a windless spot. The tip of the flame should be at the level of the eye. Beginner may stop short of fatigue and the process continued for not more than 10 minutes. Gauging of the tip effective beginner may stop short of fatigue and the process continued for not more than 10 minutes. Gauging on the tip of the flame is doubly effective because it encourages visual accommodation, and secondly because the association of light induces both concentration and absorption. Study in mental movement. Conscious mental training not only includes concentration exercises and restraint of mental modifications, but it also admits movement of the mind within and outside of the body. Positive method of training appears contrary to the usual procedure for the control of the mind as the accepted means of concentration approved by the practical yogis, but it has its own special advantage in the easy focusing of the mind. Excellent psychophysical practice recommended by practical yogins. Lie supine and fill entire body from top of the head to the tip of the toes as if with air by inhaling slowly through the left nostril or Vam Marga. Concentrate mind on the end of the toes, then slowly move it upwards, ankle, knees, thighs, anus, generative organs, navel, stomach, heart, neck, tongue, palate, tip of the nose, eye, space between eyebrow, forehead, ultimately on Brahmpuri. In general, conception about the spot is that in the brain, and further it is the seat of the soul. Keeping it fixed there for about 10 seconds, let the mind travel downwards in the same manner till it fills the toes. After holding it for some time, move it upward again till it reached the lotus of the navel, Nabhi Padam. Concentrate there for few seconds and then discontinue. Move the mind slowly and make pause at each spot for at least 2 seconds. When begin the steady close, the eye is ordered that attention may not be distracted by the objects around you. When you discontinue, may open eyes and allow the mind to take its own modifications. This study may be repeated with or without any interval of rest for a period of 10 minutes. Concentration method. Apart from psychophysiological process for concentration as the centralization on geometrical patterns and design, the manifold Tratak practice, the listening of various sound, the chanting of mantras and projection of colors and concentration upon the various developing on mental picture, especially in the beginning, is the method of study. Special in the beginning is the method chakra, crown of head, formless supreme light between the eyebrow, intellect, throat, spiritual drive, right of the physical heart, love, compassion, drive, respiration, ether, navel, air, sit on the willpower, power, drive, digestion, fire, above, behind, genital, sensual, drive, reproduction, water, and just above anus, material, drive, elimination, earth. Enter the lonely, quiet places previously selected and take any comfortable posture. Do nothing, think nothing for few minutes. Breathe naturally and rhythmically and try to hear and vary sound of your breath. When the rhythm is stabilized, look about and around everywhere. Let no thoughts be associated with any emotion. Be passive and abstract. Avoid association of all ideas of what you have seen. Shut the eyes, rest in this condition for few minutes and then begin to mentally reproduce what you have just seen. Stop and concentrate. Slowly try and see if your eyes can photograph on your mind the objects you have just seen. If the vision is imperfect, open eyes slowly, quietly and peacefully without any thought. Keep mind blank, absolutely blank, and look around again. Notice the objects, their wholeness and other details. Slowly observe everything while you are busy looking and see that you do not overlook a single detail. Take ample time to observe and absorb the data. Only after you feel sure that you are now able to produce identical picture on the mind, should you close your eyes and retire. Now do not struggle, get mind quiet, free from any excitement, even from any efforts. Then out of the quietude and peace of mind, project the vision of the objects you have just seen. Search and see that no details is missing. If you cannot see wholeness all at once, do not be disappointed, but take up one thing at a time. First take that you believe you can easily reproduce chair, a floor vase, clock, piece of paper, or anything. Produce an object at a time and then try to see them all as a whole. Do not be satisfied with anything less than a perfect image. Try and try again till complete mastery over this method of visualization is achieved. Even while resting, just shut your eyes for a few minutes. Get yourself composed and forget all thoughts and picture on your mind anything that has particularly impressed you during the day. Raise the vision out of darkness and hold your mind to it, anchored there as long as possible. If the mind wanders or other thoughts drift in, displace them by negation. The intensity of concentration dharana varies with each individual depending upon the stage of one's inner development. A mere abstraction of the sense of pratyahara is possible even without any training, for it comes like a flash of lightning at certain moment in everyday life, when the senses and the mind happen to get fully occupied in some object of rare interest. Such incidents last but only for a few moments and pass away unconsciously. During this state, there is complete forgetfulness of all sense object, lifting one beyond pleasure and pain and considerations of mundane nature. The yogin is not satisfied with these casual experience beyond his control, but seeks to master the very subtle process that lead to such abstraction and ultimately to oneness with the objective of his thought. With him, nothing should happen unconsciously, for he is a scientist and desires to be fully aware of the circumstances that lead to it and to achieve it whenever he commands. Conscious training necessary. Conscious training is concentration should be undertaken. Various objects may be used for this purpose of concentration, as a crystal, an earthen ball, a flower, or anything available. Similarly, ideas may also be concentrated upon thoughts of health, happiness, prosperity, etc. Concentration is even possible on such attributes as love, tolerance, compensation, and so forth. The yogin aspire to remain a self-contained unit during all his efforts at self-culture. It is desirable to avoid all external aids as far as possible, demanding physical steadiness and control, instrumentality in mental focusing. Let the student begin with Akash Mudra, or the symbol for concentration on space. Now fix your gaze on these hands and concentrate your mind in the open space within the two circles. If the mind is not at clear under such conditions, it is undesirable to take up new exercise with advantage to make any progress towards actual concentration. If aligned thoughts waver your mind from your efforts, displace them over the again with consciousness of only one thing held for concentration. Thus, what your object is taken for centralization, for conscious image should be practiced with over and over again until it can be held for at least 5 minutes to the exclusion. Then pass on to the next step of monothought conglomeration. Like physical control of the body, which imparts muscular agility, mental control ultimately leads to self-mastery, which is the key to all success in life. Cultivate patience and seek aid of the easiest method of mental control so that he may at least make a beginning. ध्यान. The continuation of Dhyan Mudra, the continuation of this mental effort, dharana, to concentrate on fixed point is meditation or dhyan. When the duration of concentration is prolonged in the same line of thought, contemplation naturally follows. The English word contemplation, meditation, etc. do not fully express the meaning of the word dhyan. It is the unbroken flow of realization of the object which is dhyan, or rather Speaking more scientifically, it is the magnifying process of the object in the light of the self-consciousness after the object has been fixed that forms the main activity of this stage. The inner consciousness becomes more powerful in this case than in any of the previous stage. Concentration is the process of determining a particular object out of many, while dhyana is the maintenance of the same object to the exclusion of other vibration for a considerable length of time. Here, the senses, instead of analyzing the objects by themselves and thus using the energy of the mind, combine and form of a powerful focus, and with the mind at their head enter into the reality of the object. In dhyan, the object of concentration presents itself in reality and the ultra conscious mind directly perceive it. According to the psychology of consciousness, when the soul cells are once properly placed under rhythmic vibration, the same vibrations, if not disturbed, produce a deeper state in that particular condition. Whether it be some abstract state or a purely conscious one, it makes no difference so far as the duration of the process is concerned. It all depends on the totality of the object in the mind and the capability of the man to receive the vibration. Suppose you catch sight of an ordinary rose petal, then try to imagine that the actual petal is just before your eyes. Beginning the knowledge about the object in focus is the second stage of the operation. Then the object begin to expand. The shape retains its own peculiarity and even its color for some time, but the size alters according to the time of contemplation. In the beginning it is small, even smaller than the ordinary petal, and that is the center of consciousness. Then it gradually evolves itself into limitlessness as you go deep into the object and lose yourself. The main color slowly varnished and a new color takes its place. If it is peaceful, green or blue is seen. These colors often change according to the tendency of the individual mind. But if the concentrate cells present a part of physical activity, red mostly colors also work upon the object. Even through the main color of the object may be different, sometimes even just the opposite. Enlarge and narrow the size of the object alternately. This steadiness of mind thus created produces a kind of inner delight. With this, the inner consciousness becomes brighter like a strong searchlight found by the control of the mental energies to sense, think in the actual world. It is in this state of consciousness that the man in dhyan can tell of things in a room which is closed or relate incidents happening in far off countries. These things are not impossible at all in the sense that the present scientists take them. No doubt, it is very difficult to find a genuine man who possesses such supernatural control over his higher activities. Being totally passive, controlling the lower and the higher energies so as to be sufficiently able to receive and produce the thought vibrations of the man in view. By forcibly directing his thoughts either by the influence of the subconscious state of the mind or by the direct use of the will. Another method of putting the subject into a hypnotic condition and then making him speak his thoughts, but in any case the passive condition of abstraction is primarily necessary. Samadhi. It is continuation of this contemplation that produces the state of trance in which the object of the mind and the mind become one. The physical consciousness disappears and even the mind itself merges into its object. Thus the object represents nothing else but a dazzling light, the combined light of the knower and of the thinking known. When the account of the object of contemplation taking entire possession of the mind, contemplation shows forth only the light of the form of the contemplated object and is devoid as it were of its own nature of self-recognition, that then it is called trance of samadhi. Trance is the highest state of inner consciousness that is produced either through the scientific cultivation of the inner control or through the sudden emotions resulting from congenial circumstances. Its realization brings a sudden change in life. One often experiences illumination and joy when everything that he sees becomes transparent. Sometimes such a spiritual glimpse comes like a flash of lightning in the sky. It comes like a sudden flash of strange light streaming forth from the simple nudity. By this, the spirit is uplifted for an instant above itself, and at once the light passes and the man again comes to himself. Forgetfulness of one's own self in a state where nothing can move him, and that gnosis from which the mind and the speech turn back baffled is the real state of samadhi. It is this state which every being consciously or unconsciously try to reach. That state of realization having been obtained, there is no greater joy beyond it. Who knows the true greatness of the trance, realization, deliverance, and the attainment of supernatural power can be studied through the instruction of a teacher only. Mental indifferences to worldly enjoyment is rather difficult to obtain, and even more the realization of the ultimate truth. Patanjali in his Yoga Sutra is given definite but very short guideline for meditation. Many of the commentaries, the chief among them Vyas, Vachaspati Mishra, Bhikshu, have explained on them and made them a little more intelligible for the common man. It has been mentioned that for pure consciousness to shine forth, the basic thing to get done is to make the mind pure and stop the mental modifications. All the technique for concentration make this possible. It is started in chapter 1 Sutra 41 that when the modification of the mind cease, the chit become like a transparent crystal with the power of appearing in the shape of the object presented to it, whether the knowable and knower or the act of knowing. This is samadhi or sampatti in yoga. This is very important sutra because it gives the technique of meditation and how it works. It questions what would be the nature of a superior type of meditation, and when I gain steadiness of mind on that object first should I meditate upon, and how did this one pointed stage arise from a mind which is possessed by the guna of rajas, tamas, and occasional shatru. Patanjali has given various techniques for people of different kinds of temperaments and mental stability. The two fundamental put forth are the cardinal virtue of habituation to practice, abhyas, and disinterestedness, vairagya. The smile is given on the mind being like a river which can flow to its source or to the sea. One must learn to stop the mind from going outward, so disinterestedness and continuous practice care recommended to make this possible in Sutras 1:13 and 1.14 and 15 that describe what true disinterestedness is according to yoga. When someone loses all interest in mundane things, one would gain clarity, and in Sutra 1.17 a systematic way of developing meditation has been presented. It starts by saying that there could be a beginning with an object of concentration. By this kind of meditation, we can gain direct and ultimate knowledge which would not be available if we relied solely on disinterestedness. Patanjali has divided samadhi into sampragyat and asampragyat. Sampragyat samadhi, vitarka, special way to knowing, concentrate on gross object, which are subtle object, source and cause of gross object. Ananda, when mind becomes very subtle and is full of sattva, concentration is on the feelings of joy. Asmita, when the buddhi, mahat and prakriti have gained the knowledge of the purush. असंप्रज्ञात समाधि और निर्बीज समाधि और समाधि विदाउट सीड, देयर इज कंप्लीट स्टॉपेज of the mental modification. Alternative to the ones reserved for the highest type of adhikaris. Faith, which can be equated to disinterestedness in one sense, according to Das Gupta. Enthusiasm is also mentioned as consisting of depth energy to reach the goal. Memory is said to be keeping the mind fixed on the spiritual purpose. The highest vivek or discrimination arises together with the highest vairagya, which has been equated with asampragyat samadhi. Among the other aids mentioned by Patanjali for meditation and meditating on the word Om or on the Prikramas, friendliness, compassion, complacency, equanimity, which all help to make the mind free of impurities, and thus 1.8, 1.33. Patanjali has emphasized the removal of the obstacle for reach such as stage, or in fact to begin the process of steadiness of the mind. These are mentioned in chapter 1, slok 30, which consists of disease, languor, indecision, carelessness, sloth, sensuality, wrong notion, missing the point, and instability. These he has pointedly mentioned are distractions and have to be removed, as they are obstacles on the path of gaining the highest clarity. Oh.